Hey guys, it's Jeff. I just wanted to apologize in advance for the poor audio in this episode, at least for my part. I checked everyone else's levels, but forgot to check my own, so I am clipping throughout the entire episode. But if you could please just bear with that for the time being. I think the episode's still pretty good, but I'm telling you this because I was pissed off at myself while I was editing, so yeah, I hope you still like the episode. Here it is.
Sir, do you know why I pulled you over?
Speeding?
No, it's because your intro sucks. Please step out onto the curbside.
Hey everyone, welcome to another week of the Curbside Podcast, the podcast where we talk about cars and everything to do with cars. My name is Jeff. I drive a 2004 Honda S2000, and I am your Southern Californian Taiwanese American.
What's up, everybody? My name is Parth. I drive a 2016 M3, living up here in Northern California, Bay Area. Yeah.
And I'm Andrew.
This time you forgot his name.
It's a bit of a
Oh no,
lag
I thought you were saying something else.
I was thinking about it.
Seemed quick. Anyways, try not to get it confused this time. I'm Andrew, living up here in Northern California as well. I drive a 2015 Subaru BRZ and a 2014 Evo 10 MR.
Yay! He got it right this time.
It's hot up here, man.
It's hot down here too. It's a warm week.
Yeah, that's fine with me. It's like the first time since quarantine started that the weather's actually really nice.
Really? In Belmont, the weather's been like amazing. Besides like a couple of rain days and a couple cloudy days, but weather here's been pretty good.
Really, we've had mostly like rainy days.
I'll put it this way.
Except
It
for
hasn't
this
been
past
this good. This is what quarantine's come to. We're just talking about the weather now. God damn.
Seriously. So guys,
Oh,
you guys like weird cars?
I guess. So define weird.
Describe, yeah, just define weird.
You know, it's just when someone says, "What car do you like?" and you say a car, and then they'll be like, "Really?"
Or what's that?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Me, not so much. I mean, like some are like, oh, that's kind of cool, but I'm not like, oh my god, that's so cool, that's so rare, and it's so weird. And it's like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of like the weirder the car is, it's just kind of like, okay, move on.
Yeah.
You know, Jeff, you do like, I would say out of all three of us, you like weird cars more than me and Andrew.
Y'all are boring.
You're like, yo, have you heard of this car? I'm like, no. Hey, let me show you. It's so sick. And I'm like, it's fucking boring.
Bruh, the Rivian is boring.
No, okay, that's a normal car to like. That's not weird.
Hey, but I introduced it to you, man.
Okay, so just because you introduce it makes it weird?
Yeah, that's the authority I have apparently.
Yeah, S2000s are fucking weird too.
Yeah, weird ass cars.
I want a smart roadster.
I don't even know what that is.
You
That's
watch
how much.
Top Gear?
Yeah, but like, I don't remember every single episode, unlike you.
Yes, I have watched that show way too many times. Well, today we're going to have a guest on who is going to be the expert of weird cars, I think.
Yeah.
You may know him as the guy on Doug DeMuro's channel who owns a Trabant, or the guy on VinWiki who owns a Trabant, and he is Robert Dunn from AgingWheels, and he also has a second channel called Underdone. Hey, Robert.
Hello.
Nice to meet you in person. I guess.
Person.
As
In
close as
person,
can get to.
Thanks so much for joining us. I love your videos. I find them hilarious.
You know, the first video I watched from you, and it was because it was on like social media and stuff, was your how to drive a manual.
Yeah, that one kind of blew up on Facebook.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Like now, whenever I want to show people, like, can you like, teach me how to drive a manual? I'm like, here, you watch this first. You know, it's nice to scare them into it.
I really like making that video. It's a shame it didn't do well on, actual YouTube where
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I off of it, but Facebook it did incredibly well.
I saw it. I was like, not another guy trying to teach us how to drive a manual. And then the kind of couple minutes in, I'm like, hold on, something's not right.
He's not another guy. So, where are you from, Robert?
I'm from Missouri. Grew up in central Missouri, and I moved very far away to Eastern Missouri.
Okay. All
Nice.
right. So Missouri guy.
Some
Yep.
distance there.
How's the whole quarantine stuff treating you over there?
It's really not much has changed for me because I don't leave the house much anyway, and all the essential stores that I
Mhm.
typically go to are still open. Not as many hours. I have to go a little bit earlier in the day, but it hasn't really changed much for me. Thank
Okay.
goodness.
Yeah. Well, me and Andrew are in the Bay Area, and Jeffrey's in LA, so we're we're not enjoying it.
Yeah.
Oh, I imagine not.
Yeah, we can't get out. I went for a drive over the weekend, and if you stop anywhere, there'll definitely be a police guy coming up to you and asking you what you're doing there, and
Really?
you should keep moving. And yeah, it's getting they're getting kind of strict out here.
Yeah, there's basically no police. There's a few people that have taken to the highways and realized that they have free reign out here. Passed by a couple of people doing 100 miles an hour because there's no cops.
Yeah.
Jeez, the Missouri Autobahn.
Yeah, I actually heard, I was just reading this earlier today. CHP came up with a statistic that it has an increase of 100% of the amount of tickets they've given for people driving over 100 miles an hour.
I saw something on Facebook. They gave out a ticket for someone going 165 on the freeway.
Jeez.
Wow.
Slightly excessive.
Isn't that criminal speeding?
Yeah, you'd probably go to jail for that.
Okay.
So, Robert, we're talking about how I like weird cars.
Mm-hmm.
The other two, not so much.
Not as much as Jeff.
We're more traditional. I'm really into like Japanese, like the Tokyo Drift kind of deal.
Yeah, I'm more of the European cars.
Okay.
So I was wondering,
Cool about
Robert,
everything.
if you could talk us through your current stable of cars.
Well, sure. That's pretty easy because I'm actually in my shop right now. Do you want me to take you for a little laptop tour?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
We've got. You just do this. I've got the smart car over here that's been unlicensed for a good while. Got the Trabant from East Germany right here. And this isn't
Jeffrey's
mine,
favorite.
but there's a Nissan Figaro sitting in my shop.
That's amazing.
Over here is the Wego that I've recently pronounced dead because I'm apparently a doctor.
See, if you didn't show us any of those cars, I would have to Google it.
You still might have to Google them.
Yeah, what the hell's a Wego?
So there was a Chinese knockoff of a first generation smart car called the Shuanghua Noble, and there was a company in Georgia that bought several of the body shells from that car and turned them into electric car that they sold in the United States called Wego.
Oh,
That's what it is. A Chinese bodied car with an electric drivetrain.
And they sold it in the U.S.?
Yeah, they sold. Well, this is the highway capable. They sold two versions of it.
Uh-huh.
One was the low speed version that only went like 25 miles an hour. And they sold the highway capable version. And of the highway capable version, they only sold about 100 of them.
Wow.
The company gave up. So
so they're not around anymore.
Is that
Yeah.
around the time that like they allowed smart cars to also be sold in the U.S.? Because there was a time where like smart cars, you couldn't buy them here, right? Or they weren't allowed to be sold here?
yeah, I mean, that's the smart car that I have is a first generation one. It wasn't allowed to be. I'm pointing over here off camera, but
Uh-huh.
it's a first generation one that it was a gray import that was it had to be converted to fit the U.S. DOT regulations. So it has different headlights and stuff from the European market ones. Later, the second generations one is the one we got that was
I
officially
see.
sold by Mercedes.
Is the Wego company still around?
Yeah, sort of. We're doing autonomous driving stuff. I don't have a clue what they're actually doing, but I called the tech support guy for the Wego car division the other day. He's still around.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I was watching your video about how you did that. I was like, how is this guy still here? What's he helping people?
I'm reasonably sure it's his home phone number that's listed on the website.
And you also have a Trabant,
Hmm.
which has been all around YouTube by now, I think. It's been on Doug's channel. You talked about it on VinWiki. Can you just tell us, Andrew wants to know, what a Trabant is?
I also want to know.
Trabant's an East German car. Wasn't the only car you could get in East Germany, but it was pretty much the only car you could get in East Germany. It has a 2-stroke, 2-cylinder air-cooled engine. The body panels are made of cotton and resin. It's similar to fiberglass, but it's stamped together. So they could produce things in high quantity, and it's made out of recycled materials. And it's front-wheel drive, and it's awful.
How strong are those panels? Like,
They're-
could you
they're
theoretically punch through them?
No, they're pretty strong. They're
Okay.
not quite as strong as fiberglass, but I don't know what to compare them to. They're stronger than plastic, like Saturn body panels.
Saturn.
It seems like the typical car from the communist era.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Right?
a very communist shape about it.
In your videos, you said you just need to put a Trabant in a scene just to make it more communist.
Oh yeah, that or a Lotta. But I think the the Trabant does a better job of making it communist than a Lotta does.
I've seen your video on how to drive a Trabant,
Mhm.
and you must be the most patient guy on the planet.
Maybe. I mean, that's part of what I like about it is that you have to do things to keep it going. I have to constantly, while I'm driving, if I let off the gas sometimes, the engine will just rev up and I have to reach down and choke it a little bit to rein it in a little bit. Manual controls like that all the time.
Talk about a hands-on experience.
Yeah.
So that begs the question: exactly did you get into like loving cars, and more specifically, weird cars?
So, the first part of that question is easy to answer. Top Gear pretty much got me into cars. In
Same
general.
with all of us.
Yeah.
As far as weird cars, I said this to Doug DeMuro in his little interview in the video that he made, but he cut it out. I compared it to a drug addiction. Cars are a drug, and to harder and harder core, I had to go into weirder territories of cars to get my fix.
It's so weird though. Like all these weird cars seem like you were just saying, like you had to choke the engine to bring it back a little bit. Like all of them just seem like a huge pain in the ass, and like it's like the ownership experience doesn't seem very easy.
No.
But I guess that's part of the enjoyment for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really enjoy. I mean, I enjoy it, but I don't really enjoy fast cars because they're kind of typically they're pretty boring. You drive out, you break the speed limit, you come back home, and then what else is there?
You're actually the perfect person I should talk to, Robert, because I've been telling these guys for the past few days. I have a 2016 M3, fantastic car. It's fast. I feel so confident in it when I'm driving it. Like I can go around this corner. I could probably keep up with a very expensive sports car, but I'm like, I feel so disconnected. Like I just feel like I'm a piece of meat along for the ride in this middle. So I was telling these guys I want a car that makes me just like sets me on fire. Maybe you can tell me with some suggestions.
Well, I have.
Maybe I should go down the weird route. Honestly,
I have some very unusual suggestions for you.
Sure.
If this smart car I had didn't have that horrible transmission, it's an automated manual, and there's like 5 seconds between gear changes. If it didn't have that, it would be phenomenal. So in Europe, they sold a smart roadster, and I imagine that thing was excellent.
I really want one of those.
I don't know what my actual suggestion is for you because you can't get either one of those things. So
Parth, get a Trabant.
Yeah, there we go. That seems like an engaging driving experience.
Yeah, in a different way.
Yeah, in a different way. At least it's more engaging.
Do you still drive that around?
Oh yeah, probably like once a month is how often I drive it. But yeah, I definitely still drive it around.
Do you have a daily driver?
Yeah, I have a PSST.
Oh, nice. How boring.
Trying to make it more interesting. I've gone late on my oil change. So maybe something interesting will happen soon.
Waiting for it to blow up, and it's like, now it's fun.
Yeah.
So is there any other unusual car on your radar that you would like to own soon or you're looking out for?
Yeah, I'm actually looking for a second Trabant, but as far as something different goes, I'm looking at anything French. I'd like a Citroen, either a GS, a CX, or if I could get the budget, a DS. That's what I have my eyes on.
You just said a bunch of letters. In my mind, Jeffrey might know what they are, but
the DS is a super cool car, though. That was like, when was it made? Back in the 60s?
I think it was made in the 60s. I think it was launched in 50 or 51, and it was made until the mid to late 70s.
Oh, okay. I just Googled the DS. I've seen this before.
I've seen this one too.
It ended up having like swiveling headlights sometime down the line.
Yeah, the second generation had swiveling headlights. It also had the complex hydraulic system that controlled the suspension and the brakes, and I think a third thing. Oh, maybe the power steering.
Yeah.
It's all wonderful. And that would be another nightmarish ownership experience, but right up my alley.
Just trying to fix that suspension is going to cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, got to use the special green fluid, otherwise it'll leak out and destroy the whole system.
Oh,
Damn.
lovely.
Wow.
Are these cars hard to find? Like, how hard is it to find another Trabant or like a Citroen DS?
Well, there's a good reason I don't have two Trabants already.
Right, right.
The Citroen is a little bit easier to find because they did actually sell Citroen DSs in the United States when they were new.
Mm.
But as far as the Trabant goes, I just have fingers in all the groups for Trabant owners in the States.
Okay.
So if one comes up for sale, I usually have at least one person email me about it.
So have you had to import any of your cars, or you just kind of hope to find them somewhere in the U.S.?
Right now, I just hope to find them. I really want to import one in the future. I think I'll start out with Japan, just import a super cheap K truck just to try out the whole import thing.
That's awesome.
I would love to have one of those K vans.
Oh, yeah. They're super cheap, too. If you discount the shipping price, which is like $800, give or take, you can get those K trucks for like $200.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I'm gonna go shopping for one after.
Yeah,
this.
me too. Yeah, just because I can.
Are you all familiar with Tavares?
Yeah.
I told him about the website beforward.jp, and within 24 hours, he bought a Honda Beat.
Oh my god. Do the rest of you guys know what a Honda Beat is?
No, I'm gonna look it up right now, though.
I've heard of it. I just don't recall what it looks like.
Oh, this thing.
Yeah, little tiny sports car.
Oh,
The weird thing is, like, I've seen a lot of these cars, but like it never like registered in my mind what their names are.
That's how I feel about normal or high performance cars.
Right? See? But see, that's why you need to have people who enjoy all walks of the car community, you know?
Yeah, that's what I appreciate about your channel, because without your channel, I would have never known about the city car. Was it that like cheese wedge car?
Your life would have been just as fine.
So that city electric car, how does the throttle work again?
It's a 3-stage contactor switch instead of being like a linear progression. Just 3 stages of on-off switch.
So it's on, more on, and even more on.
And then
I think it's a 36 or a 48 volt battery, and it just changes how the batteries are seriesed up based on the position of the foot pedal. So position 2 and 3 is 24 and 48 volts, I think, and position 1 funnels everything through a resistor. It's just crazy.
oh my gosh,
that sounds terrifying.
Hilarious, though.
Would you want to own one of those?
No, I couldn't take it anywhere.
So are you able to get these cars like all registered and legal to use on the road, or do you kind of have to?
Yeah, I couldn't. If I lived in California, I wouldn't be able
That's
to.
what I was just gonna say. That if you lived here, you wouldn't be able to at all.
Yeah, but I can do it here. All I have to do is pass a safety inspection, and if I don't pass a safety inspection, I get it registered as a historic vehicle, and then anything goes.
Wow. Okay.
But let's not even talk about smog. You know, you don't have to worry about that.
I do have an emissions inspection here, though.
Okay.
Oh, really?
That's the main reason the smart car isn't registered, because I took it in for an emissions inspection, and it jumped the odometer. They just plug in something to the OBD2 port, and it jumped forward the odometer 13,000 miles. So I've been afraid to take it in again.
So how did the Trabant pass the safety inspection?
I don't think they looked at it. It didn't have working headlights when I took it in, but it still passed.
Nice.
I don't know. Not my problem.
Yeah, exactly. They're probably like, there's probably only one of these here. We don't have to worry about it too much.
Yeah. And the brakes were leaking. It was a mess.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
running on one cylinder the first time I took it in.
They didn't even bother driving that thing then.
No, he was afraid to. He admitted that when I picked it up.
Should have got him on the record just in case.
No, I get a safety inspection pass, I'm good to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Obviously, Jeffrey and you are super into weird cars, but me and Parth are more like traditional car people, I guess. Are there any, I guess, non-weird cars that you're really into, or not really?
I mean, yes. I might have to. I really like the E39 M5.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
You know what's great? Like I said, I wanted to find something more engaging, so I was looking for even used cars. Now, you know what? I always wanted a nice E39 M5 manual, V8, one of the last like pure BMWs.
But
And from the 4 years ago, I was looking at it before to now, they've increased in price by like $20,000.
Oh,
minimum.
What's the
Yeah.
what's the going rate for those now?
I saw one in, of course, California, everything's more expensive, but first of all, there weren't too many for sale compared to when I first looked. One was on sale. It had 37,000 miles, so relatively low miles. No, 81,000 miles and selling for 37,000. And I could swear just 4 years ago, you could get one for as low as like 11,000.
Yeah, that's the last time I looked. It must have
Yeah.
been because I was looking at them for like 14 to 15 grand in great condition.
Exactly. And then now all of a sudden, there's like people selling them for like upwards of 30.
Oh,
So
I guess that's
I
probably
was,
on my list.
yeah. I was just like, I was like, oh, maybe pick one up, work on it during quarantine as a project for like 11K. How could you go wrong, And then I'm like, well, I guess I can because you can't buy one for 11 anymore.
Well, that's disappointing. My absolute dream car is a Caterham. I don't know. You'd probably classify that as a weird car, though.
No. That one's I think has enough exposure to be less than weird.
It's common.
Oh, that okay.
I think I'd get a slightly lower spec version, like a 280, not the whole hog 360. I don't remember the top model.
Would you get it as a pre-built or a kit car?
Kit car. I'm gonna build.
You have to get the kit car. Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
So is YouTubing your full-time job now, Robert? Or
it is, yeah.
So did you just start recording for fun, or like how did you get into making videos for it?
So when I started out, I was trying to make sort of interesting car reviews, kind of in the style of Top Gear. I just wanted to make car reviews that were not boring, and it's just sort of morphed into whatever you would call what I'm doing now.
Yeah,
transitioned over time.
I feel like everybody does that. Like I know me and Jeff that when we in high school started making videos, it was because we wanted to make it like Top Gear, and everybody wants to do that. That's how they just kind of get into it.
It started me doing whatever I'm doing, so
yeah,
not a bad thing. I'm sure it's fantastic for people too.
I guess it's a nice like entry point to like, hey, like this is you get into it this way, and then you kind of find your own thing along the way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I imagine most people start out on YouTube mimicking or copying someone else, and then they develop their own style over time.
Yeah, definitely. You blew up a car.
Correct? Yes. This speedometer over here is from that car. It was a 2000. I don't remember what year it was. It was a Mitsubishi Lancer.
So these cars that have a rough life with you, the Civic, the Lancer, where do those come from?
Well, the Lancer came from when I was working a real job. It came from my boss's wife, who didn't know what to do with it. She just bought a new car, and she was it had some exhaust or emissions meeting problems or something. It was going to cost a little bit more than the car was worth. So she didn't know what to do with it, and she sold it to a friend of mine for $500, I think. And then I bought it from him for like $300. I didn't know what to do with it, and he okayed me destroying it, so I did.
That's fantastic.
That was worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. The Civic was just given to me for free.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I've always wanted a free car.
Yeah.
That I could just mess around with.
Yeah.
What I found in the process of making those videos is that if you don't have a plan, you get bored in 10 minutes, and then you just have a car that you don't know what to do with anymore.
Yeah.
And then you make a fantastic tutorial on to drive a manual transmission.
How did that video come about? Like you just
It just popped in my head, and I started writing one evening.
Yeah. Did you used to do anything before, or you like engineer stuff?
I was a software engineer.
Okay, software engineer.
So you being a software engineer before, and right now what you're doing on YouTube, I am quite jealous of your current tool collection, by the way. Saw today you got a battery-powered caulking gun.
You mean this?
Exactly. So how did you get into all the woodworking, the welding, and
the more hardware engineer side of it?
Exactly.
I don't know. I've always liked building things. That's kind of been one constant thing that I've always liked since high school. Is I've just like making things, and I started a year or two ago watching a bunch of YouTube videos I found out that the maker movement is a thing.
Oh yeah.
I've just been binging a bunch of those different channels, just making all kinds of things. I just sort of pick up little things along the way, and I don't know. I just like to make things on occasion.
Yeah.
Don't
So
really
is
have an
that-
answer for you.
Is that all stuff that was sort of self-taught?
Yeah, I never really took a class or anything.
Even the welding?
Oh yeah, that was self-taught. I mean, my dad had a welder, and he passed on a little bit of stuff to me, but it was mostly self-taught.
I would love to have a welder.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to know how to use one.
Yeah,
first,
exactly.
though, you know? How's the bus going? I've watched actually a few of the videos of the bus you got.
It's going. I tried this whole daily video thing for the past couple of weeks, and it's actually slowing me down quite a bit, but it's still going.
So how did the bus project even come about?
I mean, that one's pretty easy. I wanted to build a bus.
Oh, okay.
Oh man.
And then you saw a bus.
Yeah. I mean, I had the idea a long time ago of converting a school bus to half car hauler, half living quarters.
Uh-huh.
When I was at my last house, I didn't have space to store a bus, so I built a homemade truck camper. And now I have space for a bus, so I bought a bus, and I'm working on it.
I like your attitude, Robert. It's like, I want to do it, I'll do it. That's as simple as it gets.
A lot of my decisions are driven by emotion, which could be a bad thing, but
No, I think it's usually better. That's what I like to say.
Yeah, you have a whole channel behind your emotion now.
yeah, exactly.
Once you're finished with it, are you gonna take it on a road trip or?
The main purpose of the bus is to do the actual build. That's the part that's really exciting to me. I haven't given much thought to what I'm going to do with it when I'm done with it.
No, okay.
I think I'm definitely going to use it to pick up new cars whenever I get new cars. But aside from that, it'll just be kind of around in case I need an RV or I need to haul cars.
So mostly it's like, I made this.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now what?
Do you have any other projects in mind?
Yeah, I've got a few. Like I said, I want to buy a second Trabant. I've got a Patreon goal for doing a Wartburg swap into it. The Wartburg was the other East German car that you could buy. It was the police car, or for government officials or lawyers or higher ranking people. And it had a 50 horsepower engine. So more than double what's in the Trabant. This would be a period correct engine swap.
Would you put it into your current Trabant or second Trabant?
No, second Trabant. I want to keep my current Trabant as it is, since I spent all the time rebuilding the engine and everything.
Yeah. Is it running well now?
It's running great, yeah.
Cool. Because the last video I saw was before the engine rebuild, where you had 2 holes in the engine or something.
Yeah, the exhaust manifold was loose, and I thought it was 2 holes coming out of the back because I'm stupid. But yeah, wasn't doing well.
So I saw that you used to own a Porsche 944.
Mm-hmm. That was my first kind of interesting car, yeah.
How was the ownership like that? And like the whole ownership? Did you enjoy it or?
Yeah, I eventually got bored of it, but it was extremely trouble-free. This is going to sound stupid, but it was extremely trouble-free except for the times that I had troubles with it.
Yeah.
There was the DME relay, which was the fuel pump relay. It had a tiny fault in it, so I had to resolder that. Before I figured out that was the problem, it would just cut out randomly, and it took me months to figure out what that problem was.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was an interesting car to own. It was pretty engaging. The suspension was pretty soft considering what car it was, and it was kind of wallowy.
Is the 944? Is that the V8 one?
That's the 4-cylinder one.
That's a 4-cylinder. Okay, and the 5-speed, correct?
Yeah, 5-speed.
Okay.
They also made them with a 3-speed automatic. My mom had one.
Oh
of those.
wow, really?
I can't. It's a totally different car.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Long gears.
Because I think I actually once drove a 944, and this was like when I just started driving. I play golf, and then the driving range we used to go to, the owner there had it, and he was sitting there for sale. And my dad, he was just like, "I'll pay you $4,000 for this, if you sell it to me." He didn't want $4,000 for it; he wanted a little bit more. But he's like, "Why don't you guys go take it for a joyride?" So I drove it, and that was the first time I drove a car without any power steering. And
it was a manual steering car.
Yeah, it was a manual steering too, and with a 5-speed that would not cooperate with you. Like you had to be very sure what gear you were in.
Real sloppy, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that was my first experience with like what I'd like to say like a real car,
Yeah.
Because these days cars are so like easy to drive.
They are. I mean, the 944 was not easy to drive, but also not easy to drive in bad ways.
Yeah.
The shifter had a lot of slop in it because the way they designed it, it wears incredibly easily, and the steering was hard to move, but that's just because it had manual steering, and there were some characteristics about the engine that made it kind of sluggish. It wasn't bad in the best ways.
Yeah.
Any sense.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, the M3 of mine has kind of skewed me into believing that I just drive like a machine. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
it's a great car. Don't get me wrong, but it just gets me a very, very disconnected feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I like about the Fiesta. It's a brand new. Well, I say brand new. It's a 6-year-old car that feels pretty connected, given that it has electric power steering and everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe I should just go American, completely different. You know,
trading your scalpel for a hammer.
Yeah, exactly. I really wanted I wanted to get the new Charger Hellcat wide body, which is like completely on the other end of the spectrum from the M3. So let's see. Maybe I could just maybe look up a weird car and do that just to entertain myself more.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as it's reasonably new, then.
Yeah.
Never mind. I was going to say there's not much you can lose. You could lose a lot of money.
But the experience you get, you know?
Yeah.
All right. That's about all we have for you, Robert. Thanks so much for being on our show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thanks for making the content you do, because honestly, nobody else does it.
Opened my eyes to Trabants and other weird things.
I wish I could do more obscure cars, but they're obscure for a reason. So,
is there anything you would like our audience to know about your channel or your second channel?
Not really. Just watch them.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out his channel, go check it out. It's AgingWheels and under Dunn, under DUNN.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we'll have you on again sometime once you get your collection increases.
Yeah.
It hasn't increased in a while. Maybe I can get to that soon.
When the bus is done, when the Wabant is done.
When the bus is done, so 5 years from now.
Well, pencil us in.
Right.
All right. Thanks so much for being on.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks
Appreciate
so much.
it.
Thank you for having me on.
So you guys want more weird cars now?
I don't know if I want them, but I definitely will look at them. Yeah. I'll definitely look at them or be like, what is that? Let's see what that's all about.
Next thing you know, Parth has a Lotta.
I've seen crash tests of the Lotus. The trunk meets the fucking hood.
Yeah, you'd be the safest in the trunk.
Fucking juicer.
I love how a lot of people got into YouTube because of like Top Gear and stuff.
Yeah, because I think everyone wants to do that. We wanted to do that.
Yeah, I mean, every car guy's dream job is what those three do.
Yeah. All right, with that being said, shall we do our sponsored break?
Fast cars and wild hearts.
Who are we sponsored by?
Ourselves.
Dang it.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that one week Part's going to be like, we're sponsored by Apple.
Yeah.
Yes, because Apple wants to. You know, out of all the podcasts in the entire planet and in the entire library of their own Apple podcast, they'll choose the Curbside podcast.
Seems reasonable.
I don't know why.
I don't think Apple sponsors anything, dude.
I don't think they don't sponsor shit.
They just,
you want our money? No.
You know who I want to be sponsored by now, dude? After, right before the show, I was making my GNC Denali.
Yeah.
I want to be sponsored by GM so I can get that truck. That's a sick truck,
really
man.
into these like American things these days.
Bro, I just feel like I'm becoming a real American.
But anyways, we are sponsored by ourselves. You can check us out at thecurbsidepodcast.com, where you'll find a link to all our things.
And email us, thecurbsidepodcast@gmail.com, if you want to talk to us or sponsor us.
Yeah.
Or slide into our DMs on Instagram at the Curbside Podcast or Twitter at Curbside Pod.
I really wanted to start the whole drifting J-turn thing as we did a
same
few weeks
thing,
ago, but I held back so hard.
We can't reuse that.
I held
again.
back so
Not
hard.
again.
All right, with that being said, let's go to the show.
Are you ready to move? Now that we got you loose. Oh, I can hear the birds waking early to saying that it's never too soon.
Craig, my ride.
Send it.
God.
Guys, I've
Send
got
it.
something for you.
Send it, man.
You're
Send
gonna
it.
love this one. It's a fantastic deal.
I'm
Wait,
waiting
Put
for
it
you
on
to
put it on
send
the screen.
Check it out.
Oh no.
Another Lamborghini.
Yo, dude, why do
Ooh.
people love to make Lamborghinis out of their whatever pieces of actually it's not a piece of shit.
Why is there a photo of a person?
So the fourth photo is just
A picture of a girl.
Wait,
yeah.
what? What
like,
is that?
sleeping. That's so creepy.
Yo, did he accidentally add that from his like photo
Probably.
gallery or something?
Guys, I want you to read this description, all right? I'll read it to you. First, this is a replica / kit
Oh, I
in all
couldn't tell.
bold. Kit it, okay, has a 2005 L1 supercharger Corvette engine and chassis. It can not, all caps, be registered in California. It would be a great track car as it also has nows.
Now
N-A-U-Z.
It has nose. Nose. Fucking nose.
It runs well and sounds mean. It needs
Nose.
someone who has the ability to finish up a few little things. Guys, what are the few little things that need to be finished
I didn't
up
hear
on
anything after nose.
These
Wait,
few little
did you
things
read
are-
this part? It would be a great toy for Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Do not try to dicker on the price. What?
Do not try to dicker on the price. However, I would entertain some sort of cash / trade.
Don't dicker
I usually
on the price,
dicker on
man.
prices.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's how I
So-
get my good deals. I dicker the prices.
Yeah.
So can you describe to me what you're seeing?
Dicked it hella hard. What?
If you took like an Aventador and then you jacked it up like on the wrong spot, like in the wrong spot,
Yeah.
the whole frame bent.
Did you guys see the picture of the engine?
Yeah, it's self-proclaimed 900 horsepower.
900 horsepower with what looks like nice stick on
I
letters.
feel like he had a better car without this shit.
Probably.
What's a Corvette?
Like
a fucking
he would,
Corvette.
if he kept it stock, he would have had a better car than whatever he has now.
It's a front engine, rear-wheel drive Aventador.
That's jacked up.
It does only have 600 miles on it. I don't know if I believe that. He might be dickering on.
Yeah, he's definitely, yeah,
He might be dickering the odometer
yeah.
there.
He definitely dickered that one. He did add like extra leather. I mean, from the photos, it looks like leather in the interior.
How do you tell? I don't see.
How
any
can you
pictures.
tell?
The one with the door up, like I definitely know a Corvette doesn't have yellow leather and stitching like that.
Oh yeah, there we go.
And then you can kind of see the seats too.
Look
They
where the
like a
Lamborghini badge is on the front.
Yeah, I mean, like,
You know how we said that last time we were doing these Lamborghinis that when we covered up the front end, the back half of it just straight up looks like a Gallardo?
yeah.
There's
this
no
one.
angle where I could cover this up at.
And be like, yeah, it looks like an Aventador. Actually, if you look at the first photo, right,
Uh-huh.
and you cover the back and the front and the roof, so you got to do some like weird rectangle shit. The vent looks like an Aventador, just the vent.
Nice.
It does have a vent and a door.
Yeah, I guess he achieved it.
Good.
My man made it, dude. 42,000 a little steep
I
on this.
just got what you were saying, Andrew. I just realized what you were saying.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, anyways, that was Craig by Ride for this week, the section of the show where we go over cars that have been well modified to suit the Craigslist and eBay and Facebook marketplace.
This was on cars.com.
Yes.
Don't they like vet on this website?
No.
No? I thought
Free market, baby.
Apparently not. All right. With that being said, let's go to the news. Guys, did you see there was a car chase in Arizona?
I saw that. It was a smart car, wasn't it?
Yep. It was a
Yeah,
smart
I think
car.
I saw something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little smart car with like a squad of police chasing it. I think the funniest thing is the police called off the chase.
Why? They couldn't keep up with him?
I mean,
Because
wouldn't that be the
yeah.
only reason?
He wasn't actually going fast enough. Like
It's fine.
Yeah.
It said they pit maneuvered him.
No, they pit maneuvered him after they found him
Oh.
parked somewhere and he tried to get away. So a smart car outran whatever they have.
Was it Robert? All right, Ford, new Mustang. The Mustang Cobra Jet 1400 electric dragster.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
It's crazy.
What's that?
It's an electric Mustang. It's a factory dragster from its performance division that wears the automaker's traditional Cobra Jet name, but it's all electric. It's a prototype that makes 1,400 horsepower and offers 1,100 pound-feet of instant torque. And Ford intends to present the car to the public at a drag race event at some point later this year, obviously right now because of what's going on.
Wow, this thing looks
Ford claims
insane.
it is capable of the quarter mile in the low 8s.
This is all electric?
All electric, yeah. So Ford Performance worked with 4 other companies to build this car. They worked with MLE Race Car Designs, Integrated Systems, and tuned the car. Watson Engineering built the roll cage. AEMEV did software and calibration. And Cascadia supplied the motor and inverter. So it's not like a fully fresh in-house build.
You know, I like that these electric cars are going into like the motorsport stuff now.
Yeah, and apparently they're putting up against, which I never even heard of, Chevy's Ecopo Camaro. And that was introduced in 2018.
The future is electric, man.
And I have one piece of news. It's not exactly car related, but it was pretty cool. And it was provided by Car Media Source. So the Drive has a separate section that they call the War Zone, where they post stuff about like military stuff going on. So the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds have this operation called Operation America Strong, where starting in a few weeks, they'll be flying over all parts of the country, doing aerial demonstration for free to everybody. Like they'll fly over San Diego, San Francisco, New York, major hotspots areas.
What if you're taking a nap?
There's going to be a fleet of F-16s and F-18s flying over your head at like high speed.
What if they're, quarantined and told to stay at home?
So that's one of the things that they actually are trying to figure out, because they don't want to do it in places where people can conglomerate.
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out how they're going to do the flyby. So they want to do something that they'll list like where they're going to fly over, and they're trying to do it more over like residential areas and stuff and like kind of populated areas. They're like, example, they won't do it over San Francisco because they know people just conglomerate in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure it out, and apparently they have to get approval from Congress because they have funding for the whole year for air shows, which now they're not using that money. So they're diverting it to use for this, and that needs congressional approval.
Seems cool, but like, what if a poor old lady gets a...
And they're not going to be flying over your house at Mach 2, bro.
That's what...
They're going to go like Mach 2 over your house, and like, they're not bombing you.
My thing is like, it just seems very ill-timed. The houses here, especially up in San Francisco, are so packed together. There's no way you'll see them without leaving your house.
Cut a hole in your ceiling.
Cut a hole in your ceiling.
That's the only like logical way to do this.
I guess.
I think it's pretty sick. There's some air shows that we're going to go to.
It's definitely cool. I've been to Fleet Week a couple times out in the marina, and it's super cool.
The cool part is, though, this is the first time that the Thunderbirds and the Blue Angels are flying together, because they're two separate demo teams.
Yeah.
One's Navy, one's U.S. Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they're flying together, and they're actually practicing together right now for it in Pensacola.
Well, can you imagine if someone doesn't like watch the news or anything?
Just
what's going on?
Martial law being implemented swiftly. Well, I have a bit of news. Lotus is working apparently on a new entry-level model that will be intended for like daily driving, the common consumer. It says it will provide enough interior space for everyday use.
It's going to be an SUV.
I don't think so, because they take design inspiration from the Evija.
Evija, yeah.
Yeah, the Evija. It says the model will take design cues from the fully electric Evija hypercar, and they're thinking it's going to be priced around 55,000 to 100,000 pounds, which is like $67,000 to like 150.
Oh, that's not bad. Is it going to be electric?
I think it's going to be an SUV.
It's combustion.
I think Lotus really does need a mainstream car.
They need something, because they probably have to make up for all the R&D that they spent on the Evija. They probably spent a shit ton of money on that.
Yeah.
And like they haven't been like a player in the auto market in so long. Even the Evora didn't really like take off. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
It was like, oh, cool. Like another
'Cause it was
Lotus.
like-
I'll buy something else for the money.
Because Lotus always makes these like really niche cars. Like the Elise was, I mean, that wasn't like mind-blowingly expensive. You could get one for like 40 grand, I think.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, it isn't cheap, but it had no carpets, no electric windows. That's not going to sell well. And then the Evora was kind of like a Porsche competitor. People
You
are
don't
just gonna
compete
buy
with Porsche.
Yeah. So it would be a shame if Lotus just disappeared because they are
Yeah.
like the king of making cars handle well. If they made an SUV, I'm sure it would handle amazingly.
I don't think they'll dip into that.
Yeah. We'll see.
But they're currently working on an extension on their factory in Hethel, England, and this supposed entry-level car will be unveiled later this year or early in 2021. So I'm pretty excited. If it looks anything like the Avaya,
Oof.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. Shoot. So exciting news from America. Car and Driver, through their sources, of which they say are like leaks, loose-lipped insiders, and information they already know, have some,
Whistleblowers.
have some information on the new Corvette ZO6 that will be coming out. And this is what they gathered from it. It's going to have a 5.5 liter V8. It's going to cost around $85,000. And it's going to be making over 600 horsepowers.
That's a lot of horsepowers.
Mm-hmm. And it will have a Ferrari shriek, they say.
Tell about the red line.
Why don't you tell them about the red line?
8,500 to 9,000 RPM.
That's insane.
That's
They're
insane.
using Ferrari's same idea for a V8. They're using a flat, plain crank,
Uh-huh.
which means instead of a
shit.
V8 that goes dug, 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 it like shrieks.
But this car, it's $85,000 for whatever.
Starting.
What's
Starting.
this compared to? Well, a Ferrari.
Dude, this is like a 48.
Yeah.
Like 600 horsepower, flat plain crank V8. This is a poor man's 488.
Yeah,
And it might be better because they're not going to use turbos.
I think
Oh,
it
no.
looks better.
Yeah.
So there's a rendering out on Car and Driver's website, which isn't official, but it looks amazing.
This is what the Corvette I've been waiting to. This is like that. That is the Corvette.
Right.
That
All
is-
these
that's what it is.
years, this is what we've wanted from the Corvette.
Like they came out with the C8, and you're like, okay, that's sick.
It's getting
But
there.
the reason why you're saying it's sick is because you know the Z06 will look even better.
Yeah.
And that's what it looks even better.
It's 85,000. How much is a Ferrari?
Easily 350,000 plus.
Ferrari's about to lose a like chunk of their market share, man.
I want this a lot.
Yeah, I would take that over. Dude, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Seriously, that's insane.
Imagine a Corvette making like a Ferrari shriek, but like it's American.
If it zoomed past me, head out the window. Nice Ferrari, bro.
Nice Corvette.
I really want to see a head-to-head.
The fact that it starts at 85,000,
Yeah.
it's a Z06. Like you don't need much else with this. Europe needs to watch the fuck out.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people will say Corvette's not as good of quality.
I mean, it probably isn't. There's probably more plastic in this car than there would be in a Ferrari.
No,
Yeah.
but I watched
They're-
a video of a C8 review from Donut Media. The interior is so nice on the C8.
It is nice. That's for sure. So I don't know what they're doing then. I don't know where they're saving money.
I think Ferrari and these European companies are just charging more because they can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And,
And
then
they
now,
know that people will buy.
yeah. And now
They're shook.
Yeah, they probably can't as much. Yeah.
Like if somebody came up to me today and said that, hey, I'm looking to get a 488, I'll be like, is it because of badge or is it because of drive?
Yeah.
Badge. Okay, get the 488. Drive. Get the fucking Z06, dude. And then spend the rest of the money on anything else.
This is exciting.
Yeah. But I will say purists will still somehow find a way to complain about it. Corvette
course.
purists.
Oh, yeah, dude. They'll say it doesn't sound like a Corvette. Here's the thing, though. This is what I thought about with Corvette and Corvette purists. Nothing that shit happened during this time that the company was appeasing the Corvette purists. Now that the company's like, fuck these guys, pretty much. Look how much more of a brighter market segment they're attracting. Like, would you have thought about even wanting a Corvette before, Andrew?
No, like maybe a little bit, but no.
Not like serious consideration. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I could get a Corvette, but yeah, I'm going this way.
Yeah.
You know? Now it's like, yeah, I want one.
Yeah.
People like me and you and Jeff are like, yeah, I want one.
I think more exciting about this too is you buy a Ferrari a lot of times for the noise it makes.
Yeah.
And especially when the top's down, that high pitched like V8 sound. Well, now you get it here. Can you imagine when there's like a I don't know, Targa top or whatever version of this?
Dude.
It'll be epic.
Dude.
All I'm saying, the purists going to be just complaining as these things zoom by their C5s.
Yeah, well, fuck them. You know.
I mean, yeah, we're all guilty of that, right? We like something, we don't want it to change.
Jesus Christ, you know what thought came across my head?
What?
I was like, I wouldn't mind having a ZO6 as the sports car, a Hellcat as this daily, and then a Denali as my truck.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody like me.
My name's Partsy. Welcome
from
to
the United
Partsy's
States of
RV and motorhome sale.
Holy shit, I'm becoming I should move to South Carolina.
I don't know about that.
Oh, geez. Well, thanks, guys, for listening to this episode of the Curbside Podcast. Thank you, Robert, for being on our show again. Really fun having you. As if you guys want to listen to more of this weird show, please find us at the curbsidepodcast.com, where you'll find a link to all our Libsyn page with all our platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn. That's it.
And as I said before, you can find us on Instagram at the Curbside Podcast, or on Twitter and Facebook. Twitter handle is Curbside Pod, and just search us up, Curbside Podcast.
Yes, sir. And thank you to Kid Dope for the intro and outro to our show, Fast Cars and Wild Hearts.
And as always, my name is Jeff.
I'm Parth.
And I'm Andrew.
Drive safe, and life is too short to drive boring cars.
See ya.
Fast cars and wild